Lee, what do you observe from that video? Let's talk about the child's movements first. What were your observations? Not just her movement, but also her behavior. Anyone can speak up.
Like miss.
Yes.
Mayroon siya miss uh, left hand dominance.
Mm-hmm.
Doon
Okay.
to manipulate sang mga gamit, tripod, tripod pinch gamit miss.
Yes. Okay. So if you yesterday I was trying to recall does Hannah have diplegia or quadriplegia? But then when I watched this video again, I observed that her upper extremity is less involved than her lower extremity. So, and then you also can also see the difference between how she uses her right and her left upper extremity. So the left upper extremity actually functions better, and you'll see more of that later. That's a good observation. Okay. What else? What about from the others? What else did you see? What observations did you note? What can you say about the quality of her movements, her behavior? When I say movement, we're not just talking about fine motor, but also her gross motor skills.
Hello, Miss. Good morning.
Yes, this is...
Bereber, Miss.
Okay.
Na-notice ko lang, Miss, ang iya kamot bala super flex katama.
Mhm.
Tapos, Miss, amo na guro, Miss, nga ginanhan mo siya sang book to facilitate her opening of hands. Amo na, Miss, ako na-notice.
Okay, so as you can, thank you, Marianne, for that. Okay, even if she's able to voluntarily open her hand, the usual resting posture would be in a flexed posture. Okay, but the good thing is she can open her hand voluntarily. Okay, what else? Any other observations about Hannah at this point?
Miss?
Yes. Sorry, please introduce yourself. Okay. Go.
Malapit, Miss. Morning po.
Okay,
Follow up.
yeah.
Dugangan ko lang po yung sinabi ni Jewel. Aside from that, Miss, pag hindi niya actively ginagamit yung hands niya, say for example, distracted siya, yung arms niya are naturally abducted and internally rotated. Pero kapag you touch it, it's as if like she remembers that she has hands. So ibabalik po sa regular normal position.
Okay, so it's good that you're noting those resting hand postures, no? Okay, that she tends to keep it in abduction and internal rotation, and this is common even in the video of the other child that I'm going to show you later. Okay, other observations. Gia typed something. Let me just read that. Okay, when the mother lifted her to stand and she only had rigid legs but was not able to balance to stand by on her own. Right. Okay, so she has lesser function in her lower extremities. That's why she needed to be supported by her mother fully. What can you say about her? Thank you for that, Gia. What about her sitting skills? What can you say about her sitting skills? Is she able to sit independently? Or does she need support? Anyone can speak up or you can type in the chat box. You have to help her position herself into cross sitting. That's right. She needs a little support since she was leaning on you, miss. Right. But later, I'm going to show you how, with proper facilitation, she can actually do more than what you first saw in this video. She needed support by leaning on you. I'm not sure if you caught it on video, but most of the time her pelvis was on posterior pelvic tilt, and so she also had a slightly rounded back when in sitting. And then she tends to lean on the caregiver or on me for support. Now let's talk about the approach of the therapist. What are the things, being the first session, being the first evaluation session, what are the activities that were given initially to gain the patient's rapport, to gain rapport with the patient? Introduce yourself by your first name when you're going to speak, ha? Sorry, I'm not, hindi kasi ako used to calling you by surnames eh. Sige. Anyone?
Brian.
Yes, go.
Uh, to other than sa pagmanipulate miss i-ample photosis, ang straps niya,
Mm-hmm.
colorful books
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
were given good para other than to garner to get her attention, also to it could also be used as a test for her fine motor skills. Amo na
Yeah.
mo tripod miss, tripod position nga pinsin.
Okay. So rather than using those paperbacks or maybe board books, typically used with children, I chose to use a cloth book because it has a lot of it has different textures. So the animals there came with different textures to allow for more sensory exploration and for me to somehow gauge in a non-threatening manner her fine motor skills. A. Sitting close to the patient and letting her feel comfortable were used to gain the patient's rapport. A. So again, ano lang ako dito, nagkataon lang na mabait and very cooperative and very sociable yung child. But you don't really expect to get this kind of interaction. It was a big class. I think it was a class of about 40 students. And she wasn't, although she showed some, she showed a bit of shyness, but most of the time she was really okay. No, she was just she was observing the people, all those people looking at her, and parang hindi siya masyadong conscious. Meron lang ilang mga instances. So this also tells you a lot about the child's social skills. Anything else? So being the first session, when you are working with a child for the first time, that's what you can do. You start by giving simple activities first, those that the child might be familiar with. Um, I didn't introduce totally new toys the first time because coming from rehab, I know that she didn't really use a lot of toys. It was more of range of motion exercises and modalities. When I checked on what was her management for her upper extremities, there wasn't a lot. She was only given cones, sorry, not coins, cones, mga ganyan, cones to stack. So I didn't want to overwhelm her with so many toys in the beginning, right? Sige, so let's continue to the next video. I'm going to mute myself because I'm giving comments for the students at that time. So what I want you to do is continue to observe and then using what you have learned in evaluation of gross motor skills with Miss Carol or Sir Yan ba? Hindi ko na maalala. Sir Yan pala yun, no? What can you say about her head control, her trunk control, her pelvic control? And then be ready to support your observation. Be ready to support your claim, no, your judgment with specific observations from the video. So let's try to practice a bit of assessment also. Okay? Sige, let me show that. First, let me prepare. Right. So observe. All right. What did you see in that segment? What can you say about her head and her trunk control in this pull to sit activity?
Hello, Miss.
Yes. Yeah.
Carmela,
Okay.
Miss, speaking. So what I've noticed is that when you tried to pull her up, she did show that she was able to chin tuck,
Yes. Good.
and there was no head lag. So I believe that she has like pretty good head control, but she wasn't able to pull herself up immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Like it took like a couple tries, so she probably doesn't have enough strength to do it yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I've observed, Miss.
All right. So let's verify that observation from Carmela. What did I say? They go hyperextension, neck and trunk hyperextension. Okay. Okay, so Carmela was right. Her movement was slow. Okay, what I did at this time, so I already saw what she can do. So what I did now is I flexed her hip and her knee, okay, to help her um, assume that position easier. So that's one strategy that you can use in treatment. Okay, by flexing the hip and the knee, you're able to achieve supine to sit a lot easier. I'm trying to get her to prop her arm. Okay, so from and then move to side sitting. I did this because when I asked the mom how does she usually get up, the mom said she tends to pull her up. Of course, there's another way of doing that. I don't know if you discussed it with Miss Carol, how to facilitate moving from supine to sitting with trunk dissociation. But again, because this was eval, I wanted to see what she can do, okay, how she typically does certain movements. So observe how she performs it in sitting now. So again, her pelvis tends to be backward tilted and giving instructions to the mom.
Excuse me, miss.
Yeah.
Wala miss sound sa video, miss. Halin kag ina.
Um, hindi na siya nakamute. Wala pa rin kayo naririnig na sound.
Yes.
Yes, miss. Halin sang first video, miss.
Oh, really? Oh my. Mhm. Ano nangyayari? Sige, never mind. I'm just going to... Kaya nyo lang sinabi. Akala ko you were hearing the first video. Okay. So, what can you say about her sitting skills here? What I explained to the students, sorry, let me backtrack. Okay, taking off from where what Carmela observed, she is able to do chin tuck as she rose from supine to sitting, so that tells you that she has good connection between her neck and her trunk. If you were going to do training for bow bath, just like Sir Yan, the bow bath therapists put a premium on establishing a connection between the neck and the trunk. And so chin tuck is important. Okay. So now I'm trying to position her in cross sitting. Okay. What do you observe about her in this position? We'll do something about the audio later. So now I'm going to use a table with her. So just a low table, which is just appropriate for her size. Okay, for me to see um, how she's using her hands in cross sitting. So what you observe on her own, she can maintain this position. So she is short sitting. Ito kasing mat na to has several layers. So her feet are on the floor. Okay. And then she's using her hands for support by holding on to the table. And she's able to maintain this position, although I find that I have to keep on prompting her to put her pelvis in anterior tilt, because she tends to move into posterior, and then subsequently she might fall or she'll have a slouched posture. So I start with a simple activity that will require her to just use mass grasp. And this is how you involve the parent. So the mom is the one offering the peg to her. So in this video, it's the mom who was giving her the instructions, was encouraging her. Okay, so let's stop there first. What do you observe? Right. What do you observe? Any observations from the class? What can you say about her sitting skills? Yeah. Nan, can you
Right,
get
miss.
my laptop? The other laptop. Yeah. Go, Brian.
Right. Uh, Though para sa akin, miss, ang na-observe ko is that she is stable.
Mm-hmm.
Stable wise in terms that na wala, for example, ga headlock
Mm-hmm.
or wala ga excessive flex lawas siya.
Okay.
She could, though with gina-prompt, mo pa miss ang iyang pelvis to uh, para mag-maintain ang correct posture, she could still maintain that those stable good siya. Not to the point that she could manipulate other objects with
Right.
ease.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good, no? Okay, so she's able to maintain her trunk in midline, and she's able to manipulate objects, okay, presented to her at within arm's length at midline. Okay, let's continue. Let me just get the video from the other laptop. Okay, any other observations while I'm trying to do airdrop? Okay, any other observations from the class? What can you say about her fine motor skills?
Hello, Miss.
Yes. Go.
Her arms were moving bilaterally, Miss. So when she was trying to put like the toy into the insertion thing,
Yeah.
like I saw that you were holding her right hand so that she doesn't move it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and she does prefer left-handedness, Miss.
Right. Okay. So she is more left hand dominant. Okay. And that also suggests that she has less. Oh, I know. Okay, sorry. That there's lesser involvement in her left than in her right. Okay. What I was trying to do with her right is to get it to do weight bearing rather than it mirroring the movement of the left upper extremity. So I was getting her to do weight bearing. Because if you, what do you remember about weight bearing from your class with Suryan yesterday? Why is it important? What did you learn about weight bearing? Anyone? So weight bearing helps decrease tone. It decreases spasticity. And so for if you are working with a spastic upper extremity, while the child is using the other extremity for manipulation, it's important that you put the more affected hand in weight bearing to decrease spasticity and prepare it for movement. Let me just get my external hard drive because I think that the video is there. I'm going to try to play it from there rather than from Google Drive, so that I don't know. We'll just try it. Maybe there's going to be sound if I play it directly from my file. Okay, just for a few seconds. Let's try it. This is from my baul of patient files. Let's work. Oops. Right, let's try. Where did we stop? Right. Let's try it from my file. Are you okay?